Hello, everyone. I'm Nick Reagan with Live 5 News, and today I'm sitting down with Kendall Ludden. He is the Libertarian candidate in Senate District number 20. First and foremost, sir, good afternoon. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, sir.
Well, let's get to know you just a little bit better. Walk us through it and maybe give us a little background. Who are you, and why are you running for Senate?
Um, Luckily it's Halloween, so my new persona of being the new American patriot is not abnormal to be on TV. But the government is definitely drastically wrong or broken, and that's why I ran as a third party candidate. I think this country needs a third political party, and unfortunately, it's not ready for it yet. So hopefully, I can get the red vote.
Well, you've got one opponent in this race, and this is a new Senate district. Perhaps your opponent feels like because he only has a third party candidate running against him, that he's got this in the bag. Talk to me about why that is not correct, why you plan to put up a fight.
I've only seen Ed. We actually were on News 4, and there was like a town hall debate, and I saw him, and I saw him on News 5. But there's not a lot of social media. My mother signed up for his email just so he didn't know it was me, and there's no real media blast. So I'm not really sure of what he's doing, but you know, he's all about community. Saying he lives here and he knows what's going on, but he's trying to work on a project that should have been done 50 years ago with the 526 completion, and he agrees with a 0.5% sales tax increase. I actually got one call from a constituent who asked me about that, and I said, absolutely not. I'm disgusted with how high the sales tax here, especially when you go to a bar or a restaurant. Sales tax has nothing to do with driving. I would have no problems with tolls, and maybe we work with Mount Pleasant and charge a toll going over that bridge, cheaper for residents of Charleston and Mount Pleasant, but we got the non-residents coming through at $20 an hour, maybe. So,
Hmm.
about $20 a toll.
Yeah, certainly a bold proposal there, but I want to back up for just a moment and talk about a little bit more about what you stand for. Obviously, the big political parties, they carry a lot of weight because folks know what they stand for, generally speaking. What does a libertarian stand for? What beliefs and traits should we associate with you in your campaign?
It's a very limited government. This structure was set up that with three branches, obviously, but also for the people, for the states, and for the federal government. And the federal government is supposed to be small, and the states are supposed to control. A perfect example of this is Roe v. Wade. 100%. It should have been overturned. It's a state right. It's not a federal right. Unfortunately, I believe the Republicans are playing it wrong and thinking it's something going on, and this may hurt the Republicans with the women vote.
We embarked on a research study this year to find out what things matter the most to voters in South Carolina and in the Low Country. And what we found that they had to say was cost of living, safety, and healthcare. Should you make it to the Senate, what could you do about any of those three things?
Well, honestly, my number one priority is we can enforce our Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution, which read it and you'll have no idea what it stands for, except that states can't coin money. I would love to get South Carolina on a gold standard, make South Carolina as good as gold. And that would actually help with the inflation. You can't print the money that's been printed. There's been more money printed in this century than the entire existence of the world. And the government debt has just exploded. They use a Keynesian economic theory that it's a reverse cyclical thing, that when the economy is in a recession, they should spend more, and when it's prosperous, they should save. When has the government ever saved? I believe in a free market, Adam Smith, invisible hand, and capitalistic situation. We are very much in a socialist or communist society, and nobody ever realizes it.
Hmm. I mean, what can you do about that? You mentioned going to the gold standard, but I mean, outside of some politically difficult items to get done, are there any small measures that you could take to move towards those philosophies?
Um, as far as it goes, that with if you get back on a gold standard, it's going to make everything real. I can give you an example of inflation in monopoly terms. If you play the game by the rules, it's a very quick game. If you put $500 in free parking and keep the money in the economy that should go into the bank, that creates inflation. So the $500 on free parking, you're going to hit it every 40 turns, and you started with $1,500. That means you have a 33% inflation every 40 turns. That's what's happening in the government. The spending has to go down. I truly believe, and hopefully Mr. Trump wins and Mr. Musk cuts everything, because the government needs to be X'd just like Twitter was.
One of the more controversial topics up on the State House grounds is the topic of guns. We have fairly loose gun rules here in South Carolina, fairly pro Second Amendment with constitutional carry. Where do you see our gun laws in your philosophy? Are they where you want them to be? What would you change?
I'm a little different because I'm from New Jersey, where it's not as easy to do. I personally believe that the Second Amendment and the reason for guns is to protect yourself from the government. Okay, that's the worst part. We lose our Second Amendment, we're losing our First Amendment. I think if Ms. Harris wins, I think Mr. Trump has got a lot of problems. So as far as the gun laws go, yes, you can carry it, I think.
Well, let's wrap this up here, and I'll just have you tell voters, as they're going to cast their ballots, what would you have them remember about you and why they should vote for you?
I'm a new American patriot. I'm an anti-politician. I am totally different. I have a CPA. I have a law degree. I did family law mediation and negotiation, which would be, considered a Congress your family. And because I'm a green candidate on the ballot or a libertarian, I believe I can reach across both aisles. I can understand people, working on my Jack Welch leadership certificate. And I think that I can just get in there, Mr. Sutton's wonderful. He's real estate and he's restoring buildings, but he doesn't have a law school degree. He can't work on the budget as finely as I can, with my accounting degree. So I definitely think that I could be a new breed of politics and presumably start here in Charleston, South Carolina. They were the first state to succeed from the Union. Let's get them to have a high-level libertarian other than Ron and Rand Paul.
All right, well, there you have it. Running as a new American patriot, he's Kendall Ludden, the Libertarian candidate in Senate District number 20. Thank you, sir, for joining me. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.